Hello, and welcome to Chapter 2. Chapter 1 was mostly about laying a foundation, and we're going to continue that foundation here in Chapter 2. Chapter 2 is all about atoms, ions, and molecules, and building on that, how do we understand what's going on with the smallest particles, which is really what chemistry is, a lot of it is about, is understanding matter on the very tiny level. That's what got me really excited about chemistry as a student and what I'd love to teach about as well. So I'm excited to go through this chapter and either review if you've seen this before, or if this is new to you, talk about what's happening with atoms, ions, and as we combine those to form molecules. So the first place we're going to start is atomic structure. So we mentioned in chapter 1 that everything we know, all matter we know of, is made up of atoms, mostly. But what are atoms made up of, right? And so that's for pure substance. That's the smallest thing we can break it up into is atoms. But what do those atoms look like? So over the years, we've gotten a very good picture of what atoms look like, a very good theoretical understanding. And so an atom is not the smallest particle we can have. There are things that are known as subatomic particles. And in particular, we're going to focus on the three that matter most in chemistry. And these, if you study physics, these are made up of even smaller particles, well, some of them. But we're not going to focus on that in this class. We're going to focus on these three subatomic particles. First one being the electron. This is written like this, E minus, because it has a negative charge. And electrons are really important in chemistry, really important in our day-to-day lives. This is what electricity is made out of and drives all of our electronics and things like that. The second subatomic particle we'll talk about is the proton, which is written as P plus because it has a positive charge. And then our final subatomic particle that we can have is the neutron. And this is often written N and then a 0 because it has no charge. And that's where it gets its name. It's a neutral particle. So atoms are made out of these subatomic particles. Now these are, besides the charges, these are different in other ways. So the electron is much lighter in terms of if we think about the mass. We define a mass unit that's called the atomic mass unit. When we're thinking about the masses of atoms and subatomic particles, this is much more convenient than using kilograms or things like that. So atomic mass unit, which is often abbreviated as an AMU or sometimes just U, this is equal to just a couple significant figures, 1.66 times 10 to the minus 24 kilograms, not kilograms, grams. And I realized that I'd been writing this behind my face here, so let me just drag this down so you can actually read what I wrote there. All right. Okay, so these are really small, right? 1.66 times 10 to the minus 24 grams. This is a very small particle, or this unit is really small, because we're talking about things that make up atoms, and atoms are really, really, really even smaller than you're thinking of. So electrons have in atomic mass units, their mass is about 5.5 times 10 to the minus 4. So even with that unit being so small, it's still not very much for electrons. If we want to approximate, this is about 0, right? It's not 0. Electrons do have a mass, but it's very, very small. Protons have a mass in atomic mass units of 1.007 U, or about 1 U. And neutrons are slightly heavier, but about the same, 1.009 U. We know these to more significant figures than this, but I just want to keep it brief here. Okay, so we've established that we have this set of subatomic particles. In the next video, we'll talk about how these different types of particles fit together in an atom. So what does an atom look like? See you there.